Hello, in this short lecture I will give you a couple of reasons why God exists, or for the non-existence of God. the first reason why God doesn't exist is because of the fact that the God is perfect, so he would never created such an imperfect world. The second reason why God doesn't exist is that God would have never created the human beings that are capable to do evil and wrongdoing and sins and crimes and so on. Because the fact that God is perfect, so he could have created perfect creatures that are not capable to do any wrong sins or crimes and so on. And in addition, you can ask the simple question, why God created the human beings if he created them to put them into tests, so from the beginning he could have created perfect creatures that will never do any wrong, any evil. So there is no reason to create the human beings in order to test them, because from the beginning he could create perfect creatures that will never do any sins or evil and so on. And in addition to that, we should remember that God, that is all power and omnipotent, can see the future, knows what will happen in the future. So God knew that the human beings, or some of them, can do evil things, can do sins, crimes, and all the cruelty and the things that the wrong things that human beings are capable to do. Actually, that is something that God knew that they're capable to do it. So why he would have created them from the beginning? Okay, so from that reason we can deduce that God didn't create the human beings, and from that reason God doesn't exist. Okay, so the third reason why God doesn't exist is that God would have never created such a reality where there is so much humans suffering, so much pain, so much cruelty, and so much violence and so much deaths and murders and so much wars and so much poverty and hunger and a lot of natural disasters such as earthquakes, floods, and hurricanes, and so on. So God could have never created such evil in his world. Okay, so that was the third reason why God doesn't create the world. The fourth reason why God doesn't create the world, because God would have never created such a world where the existence of the predator is dependent in its ability to kill the prey. The ability of the lion to kill the lamb or the deer or other animals is something that actually helps him to survive. So he survives by killing other animals. So such cruelty and such injustice could have never be created by God. So that was the fourth reason why God doesn't exist. And the fifth reason why God doesn't exist, because there are three monotheistic religions. Monotheistic is defined as a belief in one God, or the oneness of the God. And those three monotheistic religions are the Judaism, the Christianity, and the Islam. And those three religions actually contradict each other in their description of how God created the world. And they also don't have the same God. The God of the Christianity is not the same God as of the Judaism or the God of the Islam. They have different gods. So because of all these contradictions and differences in the God, we can deduce that none of those religions are true. They are actually the invention of the human beings. And God also was created by the human beings. And from that reason, God doesn't exist at all. And the last reason, the sixth and the last reason why God doesn't exist is a logic reason. We can say that logically God cannot exist, and the reason that God doesn't exist, because we can ask the simple question: if God is able to create such a big stone that he himself cannot lift. And if the answer to this question is positive, that is to say, God is able to build such a big stone that he himself cannot lift, then there is something that God is not able to do. So from that we can deduce that God is not all power. God is not omnipotent. Okay, and if the answer to that question is negative, that is to say, God is not able to create such a big stone that he himself cannot lift, we can deduce from it that God is not able to build such a stone. So God is not all power. God is omnipotent. So from that example, we can deduce that an omnipotent being is not possible to exist. That all power entity is not something that can logically exist. And for that reason we can say that God doesn't exist at all. So those were the 6 reasons to the non-existence of God. Okay, thank you very much.